Hey guys, it's John from ARTV. It's time for a review of the second solo studio album from Jack White, one of the, in my opinion, greatest guitarists of the 21st century. This album is called Lazaretto. White's been recording this one in secrecy over the past year or so. He used sessions from his backing bands. One is all male, one is all female. He used sessions with them and actually just tweaked them and kind of split them up and use them to his perfection and cut out some tracks for this LP using those. At times I think that White's vocals can stand alone and he doesn't necessarily need these backing vocals, but I understand the fact that he wanted such a wide array of instrumentation on the record. At times though it does take away from the music. Something I actually noted about this one when looking for differences between this and Blunderbuss, and I'm not going to say that there are a ton, it's just that this feels much more bluesier, much more southern, if you will. There's a little bit of a twang here, but compared to Blunderbuss, it was more of a blues-driven rock. This is almost more of country blues-driven rock with less guitar. That's something that I'm missing on this record as a whole. But let's go ahead and talk about one of the tracks. The first one I wanted to mention was Three Women. That one definitely does have that southern twang I was talking about, but in a very good way. He puts it to an effective use. I like his use of storytelling here on this one. It's something that actually feels like it flows quite well, and that guitar part at the end makes it all worthwhile. Hands down, one of the best guitar moments on the entire record. Very electrifying. I thought that he played very well on this. There were several instruments that I wasn't expecting to hear on this track and even on this album. Like on this single, Lazaretto, you're going to hear some violins mixed with those thumping guitars. That one has definitely turned into one of my top 3 tracks. I wasn't sure how I felt about it at first, but it really stepped up. The more and more I heard it, it was something that I was into. I thought his guitar playing on that one was really, really good. He uses takes that aren't necessarily perfect, as White said in an interview with Rolling Stone, and that's what makes his album so great sometimes. But what I actually felt was lacking here on this record was just the lack of creative genius that we usually see from White. Everything feels a little bit too standard. I like that the track Would You Fight For My Love feels a little bit more darker and mysterious when compared to the rest of the cuts here on this LP. I can really appreciate the guitar and piano on this one, and Jack really just drives the thing home with his vocals that need almost no backing vocals here on this track. It's mostly just Jack, and I think that's what makes this chorus really pop. It makes it stand out in my mind compared to just the gang vocals and the choir style vocals that a lot of these songs utilize. I feel like at times it gets a little bit overbearing and a little bit too much for me to handle. I think White has a great voice on his own, and while it's a little bit of minimalistic backing vocals are good, I think that this track is the perfect example for what more songs on this LP should have done. I actually think that this track, as well as Highball Stepper, are the 2 most stellar tracks on this record. I think Highball is just a complete mess, and really it's just fucking beautiful. It's built around this creeping guitar riff and vocal chant, and from there, well, the guitars and drums just break out big time and really cut loose, serving as a way to kind of get everyone back on their feet at this point. Guitar-wise, I'm like a kid at a candy store on this one. They're all over the place and they're wild. They sound very clear, very crisp. I really like what White did here with this one, and I actually think it's grown on me a whole lot since first listen. If you want to see my track review on either that or the title track Lazaretto, the links are in the description down below, or if you'd like to see my review of Blunderbuss. Speaking of that southern and twangy vibe that I was talking about, I genuinely thought I was about to hear a Dixie Chicks song whenever Temporary Ground started. Not to say that I don't enjoy the rotated male and female vocals on this one, and I do appreciate what he was saying and she was saying lyrically. I think it does pop and kind of stand out to me as one of the more fitting choruses for this record, but the music that surrounds it is the problem that I have here on this one. It almost sounds like a country and rock crossover from the 1990s, and I'm not really sure how I feel, so I'm kind of on the fence on this one. It is clear to me though that the man still has a knack for songwriting and guitar on the lead single Lazaretto. That one just is very quirky and oddball lyrically, and I really like the way that the guitars were toned on this one. They just kind of squeal and howl on the solo. I thought throughout, like I was talking about, they kind of thump and actually add a lot of texture to this track. It really makes it kind of jump and stand out and come alive. I've found that the track Just One Drink, one that he actually premiered live life recently. It's the perfect drink-along song. Alcohol apparently does Jack a few favors here, but over the years he's started to notice that it's got him into more and more trouble. I think that's what a lot of this song is actually all about. Jack exclaims, "You drink water, I drink gasoline" on this one, and I think that pretty much says it all. There's definitely also some tracks that have really tried to kind of work their way. I've tried to let them into my heart, but they're just not getting in there. Alone in My Home struggles with repetitive lyrical tendencies, and Entitlement is definitely well written, and I like what he was saying there, that we all feel entitled to things and that sort of thing on that track, but the music was ultimately dull on that one. Just to kind of give out a few examples there. There are moments like Black Bat Licorice, though, that kind of step things up again and make me have faith in Lazaretto once again. As inconsistent as this album may be at times, there are stellar tracks like this one that just make it a worthwhile listen overall. The ascending and descending guitar riffs on this one actually remind me a little bit of Wolfmother's early work, albeit much more restrained. I already kind of touched on this, but I wanted to kind of highlight it again. I thought it was worth mentioning that a lot of these tracks just kind of seemed uninspired and lacking in terms of the song structures. Jack usually puts that mind of his to good use. He's such a good songwriter. He's very, very talented, but a lot of these songs just felt too safe and too normal to me. There aren't any moments really on this record, at least there are too few of them, that just kind of blow the lid off of things like an early White Stripes or any White Stripes record or a Dead Weather or even Blunderbuss might have done. It's still hard for me not to enjoy this one for what it is, at least. It's a 3.5 out of 5 for Lazaretto for me, and that's not likely to change with time. Thanks for watching the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you hit the like button for this Jack White review. Definitely leave requests down below if you have some other albums you'd like to see me review. I'm doing Passenger, probably a couple of others within the coming weeks, Slaves, maybe Ghost Town if you guys want to see that, so leave it down below if you want to see that. Make sure you check out my second channel. You can click over here to see that, and of course my previous review is down over here, so definitely check those out. This one was actually my first perfect score I handed out of the year. Anyways, guys, let me know your thoughts on the new Jack White LP Lazaretto in the comment section down below. I will see you very soon right here on ARTV, Beyond the Reviews.